or the Attorney-General. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. And I rise to deliver my first private member statement in this new Parliament, which is a great privilege. I rise to speak about the ANZAC Day services for 2015. Over the last few years, I've attended a number of ANZAC Day ceremonies in my electorate to pay tribute to Australian soldiers who lost their lives in war, conflicts, peacekeeping missions around the world. This year, as all members of this House will know, was a very significant commemoration as we marked 100 years since the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps soldiers landed at ANZAC Cove for the start of a horrific 8-month-long campaign against the Ottoman forces. The reported estimate of Australian casualties in the Gallipoli campaign was staggering. Mostly young men, they set out to war on the other side of the world, fighting to protect our way of life. These courageous soldiers paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. The ANZAC's arrival in Gallipoli and the subsequent campaigns have become a symbol in Australian society for the bravery and sacrifices of our armed forces. Some say that the Gallipoli landing marked the true birth of Australia as a nation, and it certainly paved the way for a greater sense of national pride. I'm proud that each year my local RSLs, councils, residents in the Vaucluse Electorate join together to organise ceremonies that capture that spirit and pay tribute to our servicemen and servicewomen. This year the commemorations began early on Sunday the 19th of April with a march starting at Club Rose Bay, home of the Rose Bay RSL sub-branch, down New South Head Road and arriving at Rose Bay War Memorial in Lyne Park. I wanted to thank Rosemary Stockley, OAM, Honorary Secretary of the Rose Bay RSL, Darvel Malcolm, President, for hosting this service, as they do each year for our local residents. The next event was a service at Waverley Cenotaph, which borders on my electorate and that of my colleague Bruce Notley-Smith, member for Coogee. This was a special service because it not only commemorated ANZAC Day, but rededicated the cenotaph following its recent refurbishment, which was in part funded by the New South Wales Government. This service was jointly hosted by Waverley Council, Bondi Junction Waverley RSL, Bronte RSL, North Bondi RSL, and the Eastern Suburbs Legion Club, and I thank them for their efforts in conducting this service. On Friday the 24th of April, I attended an ANZAC service at Manuel Synagogue in Wallara. It was really good to have the involvement of the local Jewish community groups, including the New South Wales Association of Jewish Ex-Servicemen and Women and the 3rd Judean Scouts, Cubs, Rovers and Venturers, who were led by Scout leader Leon Waxman. I wanted to thank Rabbi Jeffrey Cammons and Emmanuel Synagogue Board President Louise Thurgood Phillips for helping and allowing me to share in that commemorative service. On ANZAC Day, well then there was the dawn service at North Bondi, which attracted over 10,000 people. It must be the largest dawn service ever held there. I joined my federal counterpart, member for Wentworth, Malcolm Turnbull, to pay my respects. It was a moving ceremony, there was a great sense of camaraderie and the community crowded together, and then we gathered for a barbecue breakfast afterwards. I wanted to thank North Bondi RSL President Robert de Graaf, Office Administrator Kate Cass, past President Norbert Keogh and the friends and volunteers that made that such a fitting ceremony. Then there was a service at Waverley Cenotaph again, also organised by Waverley Council with the various RSLs in the eastern suburbs, including North Bondi RSL. Later in the morning, I attended a service organised by Wallara Mayor Tony Zeltzer at the Cenotaph at Stane Park in Double Bay, and I joined the Mayor, Malcolm Turnbull, and all the councillors, and I read in particular an excerpt of that wonderful poem, For the Fallen, by Lawrence Bignon. I wanted to thank Mayor Zeltzer, Wallara Council, for organising that 2nd annual ANZAC ceremony in Double Bay. It was only the 2nd, but of course a tradition to continue. The large turnout of people to ANZAC Day services this year was certainly reflected in the attendances during the Eastern Suburbs services and particularly amongst the younger people in the electorate I represent. It is fantastic, it is gratifying to see so many Australians, especially those younger Australians, commemorating the spirit of ANZAC. Judging by this enthusiastic turnout, 100 years on from the Gallipoli campaign, we can surely say that the ANZACs have not and will not be forgotten, lest we forget.